Hello there guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about the reasons why Trump won. So in case you haven't caught up, Donald J. Trump recently won the US elections and it has been very good news. Hopefully this will trigger changes across the globe because as you know, American policy tends to reflect in other countries' policies as well because of things like NGO and donor funding. So I noticed that a lot of people give many reasons as to why Donald Trump has won, but I think there are some things we might be forgetting because the past 4 years have been very hectic. A lot is happening, and I just think that it's not wise for us to forget why the Democrats have lost this election in the first place. We find that not only have their ideologies been taking root in the US, but in some cases they have also been taking root in places like the Middle East and Africa. For example, the whole LGBT, transgender, and non binary ideologies are starting to spread across Africa, and the women there who are already impoverished and marginalized are already at risk of even more marginalization. So I was just thinking that if this gets worse, it will trigger a lot of problems for already poor and struggling people in other countries. And the US, yes, has a huge say in what happens because, like I said, they help dictate the policies happening across the globe. And I just wanted to do a dive into that and see why that has been happening. But another thing I've noticed is that also we have an issue with migration. Migration is not necessarily negative, but the types of people who have been showing up across the border tend to be quite strange. Some of them do work, but many of them do not. Others have a lot of problems uh, integrating, and it has led to a lot of crime. And like it's not that immigration is inherently bad, but the immigrants that Democrats are glorifying and protecting are always the worst of the worst. For some reason, it's always the worst people who get the protection. So for many people, the recent election was largely about the economy, but I need you to understand that uh, the economy is the way it is because all the funds collected from taxpayers are being funneled towards these nonsensical causes. This means that like while we are paying much higher taxes, much higher insurance premiums, higher property values, all the funds are not reinvested into the community, into people who can offer value. It is given to destructive and frankly, the unsavory individuals. So that's one of the issues. A lot of people usually ask, how can transgenders afford this care? Because it can cost millions. The answer is that many of them are on insurance programs, and that's why we pay high insurance premiums in general because of these kinds of things. Yeah, so insurance usually pays for their surgeries, and also there are public programs that can help with speech therapy, cosmetic surgery, and living expenses because, as you know, most of them have trouble interacting and living with normal people in society. Many of them have a lot of mental health issues, and it seeps into their personal life. So it's not surprising that these people really hold jobs, and it is you, the taxpayer, who will have to deal with all their issues and not to mention all the crime. So this person is not only using a lot of money, they are spending it on things like drugs, and that these are the kinds of things that are causing these issues and that the Democrats are encouraging and glorifying. And you come to find that in our modern society, this bad behavior is generally rewarded or approved or protected under silly groups like Black Lives Matter. And this hurts the normal civilian who now has to deal with the increased crime, the increased taxes, the increased madness from, these unsavory types of people. And also because the fact that liberals are trying to divert attention to causes that don't really matter, they also they tend to silence people on real issues. And you've seen silly groups also come up, like the neurodivergence. It Yes, it's legitimate to an extent, but it's gotten out of hand. Yes, there are people who may have problems with social cues and all that, but let's be honest, 99% of the people doing this are doing this for attention. Another thing that many people have forgotten about is the minor attracted people, who are a subgroup of the LGBT. One particular individual went viral for it. Her name was Aline Walker. She's a professor at a school, so there's someone with access to young people, and is like teaching them, telling them that pedophilia is okay, and there's someone who has influence. And this, you wonder sometimes if these people are comfortable enough showing their faces in public. How many of them exist, in the background? Oh yeah, and there was another one on YouTube called, I think, Todd Nickerson. He was featured on Truly TV, and he claims to be a virtuous pedophile, and these people are covered under that LGBT umbrella. The same umbrella that Kamala Harris said that she would prioritize if she was elected. The same Kamala Harris who said that there is no problem with the economy of society and that she would not change anything, while the past 4 years are the worst some people have ever experienced in their life. Not to forget that the issue of transgenders accessing women's bathrooms, sports, and other spaces has really been controversial and has resulted in attacks of some young girls and women. It's getting out of hand, but that's not the only issue with these transgender people. They have gotten out of hand with trying to fit into the label of woman. They have, there are so many cases of transgenders on Twitter saying that black women are inherently transgender or something. It's just so much chaos. And you never understand, why do these people say they're the same as women and then demand public resources to transition? What exactly are you transitioning to then if black women don't exist? And of course they'll always have the SJW mummies to support them and to silence other black women, but this time we are not taking it, even though it's only a small percentage of black women who voted for Trump. That small percentage will really help. I don't think for that demographic Kamala stole any votes, but I hope that in future the numbers decline. The numbers of black women voting for Democrats decline. And it's worth noting that while transgenderism is not like a new concept across the world, they have also been very destructive in other cultures. I found this tweet last year by an Indian woman, I think it was an Indian woman, who said that the Indian transgender community, who are also known as hijras, usually demand payment from poor families because in their culture they are apparently considered goddesses of fertility, so they claim responsibility over the birth of a healthy child. So it's not the first time transgenders are clashing with the average people, the average working class people. It's not a surprise. And they've also been bashing a lot of black women online. Like I mentioned previously, they've gotten into a lot of fights over the past year, and this I think has also helped secure Trump a win. And also the fact that the transgenders have really been going after lesbians for quote unquote and excluding them. This has also caused division in the LGBT movement itself because people are feeling unsafe around these deranged people who are coming in with a lot of demands. So yeah, it's not surprising when you consider that transgenders have been consistently causing chaos for what is now millennia, even it's just that they appear in different parts of the globe. And let us not forget all the very brave detransitioners who showed up to warn people about the process of transitioning for both adults and children, the side effects, the cost, the stress, and we also got to see the response from transgender activists and groups and supporters. And we could see that this is not a healthy mindset to have, or this is not how sane people act or think. You also see like the effects of the surgeries, like this picture I'll insert right here of what is a transgender woman who, in order to construct a penis, had to get muscles removed from her arm, and this is what it resulted in. And apparently, it's not surprising to hear that one of these people has offed themselves because of the side effects of the surgery. Apparently, if you get the surgery, you have a whole new kind of worms to deal with because there are a lot of side effects you'll have to live with for the rest of your life. And this is what Kamala Harris wanted to spend your money on. After all these people have come crying on social media about how bad these surgeries and their side effects are, she still wanted us to spend more money on it. And last but not least, we have the Drag Queen Story Hour. This was like a program, a public program where drag queens would read stories to children, and this image on your screen went viral of a drag queen dressed up as a satanic demon reading to children. And these types of programs are run by taxpayer funds, are run on taxpayer funds. So you can imagine, like, if people remembered this before they went to vote, it would have there's no way Kamala would have gotten as many votes as she did. I think it's because many people forgot all these instances and many more that I personally may have forgotten, and all these have compounded in people just losing trust in the Democratic Party and seeing it for what it is, a group of people who are just privileged, out of touch, and frankly destructive. So it's not a surprise if Trump will win, and if hopefully this is the end of the woke era once and for all.